So a third judge blocks Trump's order ending birthright citizenship for kids of people in the U.S. illegally. So you had another federal judge on Monday who blocked Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship for the children of people who are in the U.S. illegally. If you get rid of birthright citizenship, which is the standard, that's how everybody in America became American. You're not a citizen of this country unless you were born on this soil. If you were born on this soil, then you're an American. And then you could also become naturalized into being American as well. I want to say, what was it, John McCain? John McCain was born on a military base. He was born on a military base, not within the 50 states. So would he be an American? This is important because this is a standard for all Americans. Nobody has to pass a citizenship test. Nobody has to pass a civil rights exam. Nobody has to climb a mountain. Nobody has to dunk a basketball. Nobody has to run a mile in 7 minutes. You know, the test of whether or not you're a citizen is if you're born here. So if the parents are illegal, then the child who is born in this country is a citizen, but the parents are not. So that's the line in the sand according to the 14th Amendment. Now, here are the judges. You have this Joseph LaPlante, right? Joseph LaPlante right here. He's got, fair skin. Looks like strawberry blonde hair. And then you got this Joseph Coffenor, Joseph C. Coffenor. This guy was appointed by Reagan. And then you had Deborah Boardman. And I want to say one or the other was nominated by Biden and then nominated by... So LaPlante was nominated by George W. Bush. So he was nominated by George W. Bush. He was nominated by Ronald Reagan. And then Deborah Boardman, I want to say, is nominated by Biden, right? And so this is the third federal judge which has said that the birthright citizenship order is wrong. It's unconstitutional. So this also shows you what the current administration thinks of the Constitution. I mean, we're all going to have to become social revolutionaries. We're going to have to become socialist, anti-fascist revolutionaries. I mean, there's anarchism, which just means no government, and that is actually the end of communism. But we'll talk about anarchism in a minute, because we haven't had the proletariat take a hold of the reins of power yet. The working class people haven't grabbed a hold of the reins of power. So Judge John C. Coffenor said about the birthright citizenship, the rule of law is, according to him, something to navigate around or something ignored, whether that be for political or personal gain. In this courtroom and under my watch, the rule of law is a bright beacon which I intend to follow. A federal judge in Maryland also blocked Trump's order. Trump administration has now filed an appeal the preliminary injunction, which was issued by Deborah Boardman, appointed by Democratic President Joe Biden. So Joe Biden had nominated Deborah Boardman. John C. Coffenor was nominated by Ronald Reagan. Joseph LaPlante was nominated by George W. Bush. So in seniority, he's been in there the longest. He's been in there the second longest. And then these are two Republicans, right? Republican. And then she's Democrat, but nominated by a Democrat, which actually being nominated doesn't really say you're one way or the other. But it could, right? So, let's see, a federal judge in Boston heard arguments last week. Judge Leo Sorokin did not immediately rule. So who is this Leo Sorokin? Leo Sorokin was nominated by Barack Obama. So Leo Sorokin is this guy here. So they also mentioned the two other cases, which I heard you say, they talk about the 14th Amendment. They say how it was ratified in 1868 and then how it overturned the Dred Scott decision. And then the other issue that is pointed out is United States versus Wong Kim Ark. And they found that the only children who did not automatically receive U.S. citizenship upon being born on U.S. soil were children of diplomats who have allegiance to another government. Enemies present in the U.S. during hostile occupation, those born on foreign ships, and then those born to members of sovereign Native American tribes. Well, that's an interesting one there, too. Ones that are born to sovereign Native American tribes, because a lot of times the federal government likes to infringe upon that sovereignty. So I would give Native Americans both birthright citizenship of America and their tribe. but in terms of their rights and freedoms. But those who are born on foreign ships, so John McCain was born on a military base, right? Where was John McCain born at? Let's ask, let's see, Chat GPT. Where was John McCain born? It says here he was born in 1936 at the Coco Solo Naval Air Station in the Panama Canal Zone, which was then a U.S. territory. So technically, John McCain wouldn't have been an American because he was born in the Panama Canal Zone. He was born in the Panama Canal Zone. But that's a U.S. territory, and so therefore, birthright citizenship would cover John McCain. I think so, because the 50 states are covered, then we are 14 colonies, and then we're 900 military bases. That's what the United States of America consists of. 50 states, 14 colonies, 900, maybe 1,000 military bases. But if you're born in one of our military bases, if you're born in one of our territories, if you're born in one of the 50 states, you're an American. You're an American. And because John McCain was Caucasian, his right to citizenship was never really questioned. Which this is a white supremacist, look at all the neo-Nazi crap that we're seeing all over the place. And then what else? Is there other people that was born elsewhere? Where was Ted Cruz born? Ted Cruz was born somewhere too. I mean, a lot of people said, when it came to Barack Obama, they wanted, 50 million different documents saying where he was born. Ted Cruz was born on December 22nd, 1970 in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So technically he wasn't born in this country, but I want to say he got naturalized. His father was a Cuban immigrant, his mother was a U.S. citizen, and then they said that made Cruz a dual citizen of both the U.S. and Canada at birth. No, it's birthright citizenship. So Ted Cruz was not an American at birth. If Ted Cruz never got naturalized, then Ted Cruz is not an American. He is not an American. You're born here, that gives you your American citizenship, or you get naturalized, which is like a 7-year process. So, and to be a dual citizen, the problem with dual citizens is like which, nation are you going to pledge allegiance to? Which, do you love your Italian country or do you love your American country? And I know people say, well, what about the Native American thing? I just think of Native Americans as a state within the country. If you're born in Tennessee, then therefore you're a citizen of both Tennessee and America. And actually the way the 14th Amendment says is that you're a citizen of the state, you're a citizen of America if you're born here, and then you're also a citizen of the state in which you reside. So just living in a state. Once you're born here as an American, then what citizenship are you of the state? It's the state that you reside in. And so that you need both of those things. You're born here if you're naturalized here, but if you reside in that state, then you are a citizen of that state once you become an American. So he wasn't born here. So was Ted Cruz naturalized? Was Ted Cruz naturalized? Yes, he was naturalized as a U.S. citizen, although he was born in Canada. He automatically acquired U.S. citizenship through his mother, who was a U.S. citizen at the time of his birth. That doesn't make sense. You don't just get automatic citizenship because you're born of an American citizen. If you're born in Canada, then you don't have birthright citizenship. So I hope they keep pushing this issue because, let's see, 2014, Cruz renounced his Canadian citizenship after he learned he held dual citizenship. He officially became a U.S. citizen by birth. No, therefore he did not undergo a formal naturalization process. He only took the step of renouncing his Canadian citizenship. So then the answer is no. He has never been naturalized a U.S. citizen. He wasn't born on this soil. He hasn't gone through the naturalization process. Ted Cruz is illegal. Ted Cruz is an illegal immigrant. He needs to be deported back to Canada or back to Cuba, but he is not an American citizen until he becomes naturalized. Until he becomes naturalized. It's incredible how a foreigner is going to be, such a over-the-top conservative, right-wing fascist, Nazi, sympathetic. It's just incredible how he has all these positions that are, extreme, and yet he's not even an American citizen. He's not even an American citizen. Let's see, do we have anybody else that I know of that was born in another country? I mean, he's a senator, right? Ted Cruz is a senator of Texas, right? Yeah. since 2013. So that's crazy. I would think Texas has a lot of anti-immigrant folks, and they're actually being served by a senator who's an immigrant, a citizen who's not been naturalized, who hasn't been born in this state, when they say that he was a citizen because he was born from a U.S. citizen, so therefore that makes him... Where are they getting that? Where is that coming from? If a person is born to an American parent, does that make them a citizen? Or what law? How about that? What law makes them a citizen? Is there some federal law that we don't know about? A person born to an American parent is typically a U.S. citizen at birth under the Nationality Act of 1940, which is part of U.S. Immigration and Nationality Law. This law, along with the Immigration and Nationality Act, governs the principles of citizenship. Specifically, the law states that a child born outside of the United States to at least one U.S. citizen parent may acquire U.S. citizenship at birth, as long as certain conditions regarding the parent's citizenship status and residence are met. Such as what? I mean, they're saying jus sanguinis, so the right of blood. And then there's the right of the soil. So I guess that's what the right of the blood versus the right of the soil, meaning U.S. citizenship can be passed down from a parent to their child regardless of where the child is born. That's crazy to me. We do not have consistent standards at all. So we're going to say that it's okay for immigrants to give birth to a child in Canada, and then that person who's born in Canada is somehow an American, but a Guatemalan who was born, here to illegal parents, that person is not a citizen. Just let's read the 14th Amendment. So the Constitution overrides the statutes, and the 14th Amendment is crystal clear. They're going to make a big deal about this one little phrase, but let's take a listen. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Now, if you're a corrupt piece of shit, you might be able to take that phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, and change it into something else. But ultimately, if you're born here, even if you're here illegally, you're subject to the jurisdiction of this country. So if you're here illegally, then you could be, detained, arrested, put in jail, deported. You are still subject to the jurisdiction thereof, even if you're not an American citizen. And so some people are trying to say that little phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, but that's bullshit. So all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States. You're born here or you're naturalized here. That's what makes you an American citizen. Now, there are acts of Congress, the Nationality Act of 1940. I never knew about this, but apparently they're saying there is some sort of right of blood. So therefore, John McCain would be an American citizen by the Constitution and then by this Nationality Act of 1940. Now, that sounds like it kind of butts up against the 14th Amendment, and maybe we need an amendment to say, the right of blood, because what were the circumstances, what were the conditions regarding the parent's citizenship status and residence? Does that mean she still has to have a house? She still has to have property here? And then if she was in Canada, was she just living there, visiting there? And if she had lived there, then was she a Canadian citizen? Because if you are a citizen of another country, Haiti has the law that says once you become a citizen of another country, then you're no longer a Haitian citizen. Well, that's what the Constitution had said. So there's a lot of ideas here, and it's all legal stuff. And then also there's common sense. So when it comes to common sense, right? If you're both Americans by blood on the soil, you're in Tennessee, that person is clearly an American. But Ted Cruz doesn't seem to the 14th Amendment is not an American. Maybe this Nationality Act of 1940, it definitely applies, but then I'm wondering the constitutionality of it. But if we're going to question the birthright citizenship of, Native Americans, what were the three? They said that there's four groups that said that you're not born. If you're born here, you're still not a citizen. So if you're a child of a diplomat, then that means you are not an American citizen. So a French ambassador comes over here, plops a child down. Then that child, if they are still French, are not Americans. Those who have allegiance to another government, enemies present in the U.S. during hostile occupation. Now that actually has only happened during the War of 1812. We've only been occupied by the British. And so if the British were occupying us and then they had gave birth to a child, that person is part of the British, government allegiance. They're not actually an American. Those born on foreign ships, which that would kind of be a John McCain thing, right? He was in foreign soil, foreign territory. Not really, but you're still on, let's see, if you're born on foreign ships. Now that's an interesting one because technically you're not on U.S. soil. So it's saying that if you were on the plane or on a boat and you were traveling to Italy, then you're not an American because you weren't born here on this soil. Which that would be really unfortunate if your pregnant mother boarded a boat to go visit Italy and then came back, but technically you were born in the Atlantic Ocean. By blood, you would still be an American citizen, and then those born to members of the sovereign Native American tribes. So Ted Cruz is not an American. Ted Cruz is not an American, not according to the 14th Amendment. And then even the Citizenship Act says that it depends on the parent's citizenship status and the residence. So we need to ask some more questions of Ted Cruz about why was his mother in Canada? Did she have residence in Canada? Was she living there? Did she have property in America? And then if all those questions are no, then he needs to become naturalized. And you can't be a senator. How can you be a senator of this country if you're not even an American? That makes no damn sense whatsoever.